Hey everyone, I'm Mitch Durfee and I'm here with my great friend Jay Cummings, and today we're going to talk to you about goal setting. Talk to me about why goal setting is so important.
Well, if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there, or you're going to get somewhere else really fast. So goals are obviously important, but I find that most people actually don't bother to set a goal. They just kind of wander in a certain direction. And like my good mentor, Dan Marlowe says, easy is the enemy of success. So we often get complacent. We get comfortable doing whatever. And then 10 years from now, you wake up and you're kind of wondering why you're not that far from where you started.
Yeah, I love that because it's so true. When it comes to goal setting, like if you don't have a purpose, I feel like a lot of us feel like we may be getting lost in the direction that we're going in. And that's why this 8 Steps to Master Your Day course was really designed. Because there's a lot of people like myself that when I don't have a goal in front of me, I really don't know what to do. I wake up with less energy. Sometimes I sleep in. And I just don't know what to do for the day, or I'm not fulfilling my time with the most efficient things. So that's really why I built this course, and that's why I wanted to bring you here, because there's a couple different seminars and events that we've done together on goal setting, and they helped you achieve goals and helped me achieve goals. And maybe we can just break down some of those different techniques that we did for goal setting.
And before you get to that point, when you spoke about some of the other seminars that we went to, Tony Robbins, which was absolutely fantastic. You remember Tony's statement early on was that people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year, but underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years. And that is so true.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Tony Robbins was amazing. I had a great time with you out there, both LA and where else did we go? Was it New York or?
What was the other one in California? San
Jose and then LA.
Jose,
so yeah,
LA.
We did 2 events back to back, and we actually brought a couple of our friends that came back, and the energy at these Tony Robbins seminars for 3 days is really, really up there. And I think that's a lot of people think that Tony Robbins is just maybe this rah, but he has a lot of purpose built into the directions and setting and kind of seeing what your purpose is. And when it comes to goal setting, I think diving in and just getting that total immersion and figuring out what it is when it comes to goal setting is really important, I think.
And what I tell people a lot is don't worry about what goal you're going to set. They always think they have to set this one life be-all and end-all goal. I said, start with a small one. Start with anything, but get one done. Get one in the tank, get a W on the board, and then you're energized to do the next one. Yeah. Right?
It's the ladders, right? If you get momentum from that dopamine rush of just knocking one thing off your list. And we talked about doing a must-do list earlier on in this course. And sometimes people kind of have like this have-to-do list and a must-do list. And then working on those tasks that are actually focused towards your goal. So sometimes, you create this list of different things that you have to do. And sometimes you'll get a lot of energy from that. But really, when you knock a goal off the paper, right, that W on the board, like the energy that you get from that is something that's really hard to explain until you really just set a goal, kind of look at it and crush it. But, So talk to me about one of your goals that you set in the last couple years that, not to put you on the spot here.
Yeah, right? No, I got tons of them, right? So maybe one of the larger, more exciting ones I did was a weight loss goal. And it was really hard to get that started. Having been an athlete in a previous life, pre-child, I call it PC, or pre-D, pre-Danielle, I was doing marathons and triathlons, and I remember there was a time, if I didn't have enough time to run 10 miles, it wasn't worth putting my shoes on. But slowly I fell out of that, and then I became overweight and out of shape, and that's just a vicious cycle. So if anybody out there is considering a goal and they don't have a goal in mind, or they don't know what to choose, I would say go right for a health fitness goal, because that's going to give you dividends down the road to make it easier to do all the other goals that you might want to hit. So I went and had Tom Murphy do a goal setting session with us that one day. And that was fantastic. Tom's got a great program where he talks about when you're going to do a goal, you got to do it immediately, flamboyantly, and without any excuses. And you had to start that day, that moment, on the spot. And I stood up, raised my right hand, and took a Ulysses challenge, which was, I'm really serious about doing this goal, and if I don't, I'm going to have to pay this penalty, which was a substantial motivator.
I love that Ulysses contract. It's something that we both kind of agreed to, where we gave ourselves enough leverage to really complete the goal in front of us. And some people out there, maybe they're stuck with, like you said, not setting a goal. And then some people have already set goals and kind of crushed them. And then there's these stretch goals that we always talk about, something that's really, really complicated. And in order to complete that goal, you have to kind of tie yourself to the mast like Ulysses. But, to start off, just, I guess, goal setting, right? Make them SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. Just starting by writing the goal down in front of you, is really important. And then also reviewing that goal daily. So if you have a goal, did you do this? Did you read your goal? Did you write it down? Did you carry it with you, or any of those great techniques?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Had it on the face of my phone, and I had it on my mirror. And actually, I'll reach over here and grab one of these. I recommend everybody grab one of these. I'll pull it off the side so you can see it, a little Sharpie, and write it on your bathroom mirror. What's the first thing you see before you head out to the day, and the last thing you see before you go to bed? And that's always on your mind. And I don't know what it is about writing it down and just staring at it. Sometimes it just seems to do it itself.
Yeah,
you can just stare at the thing and not even go out the door, and it's on your mind subconsciously.
Yeah, the law of attraction almost.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I use the same techniques, writing the goal on my phone. And that's, again, why on this 8 Steps to Master Your Day program, we want to make sure that you're reviewing these goals daily. So once you go through your list and you talk about the things that you must do, and you write out your goals and you review that goal daily, it's like Jay says, by looking at it, it almost, your subconscious mind just puts it in front of you. The other thing is, we call it the reticular activating system, your RAS. Like, how many times have you been driving down the road in a black, SUV, and now you see them everywhere? It's not that, there was a sale on black SUVs. It's that your RAS is focused on that.
Absolutely.
So with goal setting and anything else you do too, whether it's investments or just in general, if you set a goal and you look at it daily, it's more likely that you're going to achieve this goal.
Absolutely, and you've got to take that first step. When I first joined BNI, I wasn't that thrilled about speaking in public, and it was only 60 seconds once a week.
Yeah.
And I joked with my wife, every Tuesday morning I have to wake up and throw myself down the stairs to
get in there,
to go do my 60 seconds in front of another group of business professionals. But I hated being afraid of something. So I made myself get closer and closer and just take that first step. Were every first step a great first step? No, but it was a step. And it was a step from zero towards something. And you learn something from every step of the way. But you got to take action. You got to make it happen.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, really the thought there is getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And when it comes to goal setting, sometimes when it's so audacious, you have no idea how you're going to get there, it can be uncomfortable, whether it's, losing a few pounds or buying some properties like I did, or just, really throwing yourself out there to the world and doing it flamboyantly. There is a little bit of fear, and I think we all have that fear inside us with whatever task that we're going to, especially when it comes to fear of failing, right? You don't want to be vulnerable. I think a lot of people are afraid that if they fail, that people will judge them. But when it comes to goals, you have to do it for yourself and not for anyone else. No one's going to stand behind you and say, hey, Jay, you didn't make that goal, or you did make that goal. But really, you yourself is the one that you're holding accountable to that mission. Yeah. So,
and you know what I would tell everybody out there, if they're worried about the people that are going to judge them for failing? It doesn't matter. They were going to judge you anyway, regardless of what you did. So those people you got to put off to the side and get focused and head straight down the road to where you want to hit it.
So on 8 Steps to Master Your Day, is there anything else that you do specifically to really master your day? We actually had Nate on in a couple episodes ago talking about exercise and hydration. And and I think you work with Nate too for some of your goal setting and other things.
Nate is fantastic. What I love about Nate is he observes you, and he's quiet, and he's pulling out the little triggers, and you don't even know he's doing it. And then he'll come up to me, and he knows what I've got on my mind, because I kind of roll it around with him a little bit, and I talk to some other people. I'm thinking about going in this direction, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Nate will say 2 sentences to me.
A sleeper.
And he'll get me right to the core and stun me, and I'm like, boom, he right there.
Yeah.
He got my attention. Now I'm committed. And he hit it perfectly. So I love how Nate has the ability to identify the trigger in you that's going to get you to take action.
Yeah.
And it's not just gym things or athletic or nutrition things. He is everywhere. He is fantastic. He's a great friend to have and a great mentor to have in the networking group. So it's awesome.
So some of the other things we talked about was also reading daily. One of the other 8 steps to master your day. What are your thoughts on reading?
No question about it. Has to be done. I don't do it nearly as much as I would like to, but I'm doing it 10 times more than I used to.
You know,
and the benefit from that is 100-fold.
It's funny because like sometimes I actually mentioned that I feel like I was cheating myself when I didn't read, because I set a goal for myself to read a book every week. And the weeks that I miss it, or if I fall behind on a couple chapters, I literally feel like I'm missing out on what I plan to achieve. And so I think, you know, setting a goal for just reading for 15 minutes a day will help, you know, whatever direction it is, because especially when it comes to mentors, coaches, and, you know, anything that, when it comes to books, I feel like if you're struggling with a problem, you're not the only person that's ever had that problem. And a lot of times someone has already taken that information and solution and thrown it into a book. And I mean, is there any book that stands out that really, you know, was a game changer for yourself?
Just like you, Think and Grow Rich was the absolute floored. That's where you got to start. And when I talk to other business consultants around the country, they all say first step is to read Think and Grow Rich 3 times your first year and once a year every year after that. And it's amazing what you pick up going through that book a 3rd and 4th time.
Yeah, I've definitely re-reviewed it after, you know, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
Someone, one of my coaches in the past, he said to me, he goes, yeah, you should read Think and Grow Rich. And I said to him, I go, I've already read it. And he goes, yeah, I'm rich, you're not, read it again. It's like, it makes sense, you know? Like, you know, so even though you've already done this, it's important to kind of, like you said, re-review it. Just like your goals, right? You know, so if you set a goal and you're not reviewing it, like even though you already have the information there in front of you, reviewing your goals daily, like we talk about in this 8 Steps to Master Your Day course, it's critical in the success, you know, in the direction that you're going in.
Yeah. You know, another book I'm going to throw out there real quick, and there are a ton. There's no shortage of books. Yeah. That it's the problem you have is saying, which one do I read next? I know you're like me, and you've always got 4 or 5 queued up to be the next one. You don't know which one's the next one. But probably one of the other books, and I've got a top 10 list, but the one that made a giant impact on me was The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod that you gave me on the way back from Tony Robbins, right? So, and I have never been a morning person, ever. I always wanted to be, but there was no way I was going to get up religiously before 6:30.
I don't know how you do it. I think you moved your morning in front of mine. So I gave you that book, and now you're a step ahead of me.
It just clicked.
It's magical. Yeah, it's actually on one of the reading lists in the course, because it was so... it drove me forward, like, you know, and again, it talks about reading your goals first thing in the morning, appreciation, which is one of the other steps, adding people to your network, stretching, exercise. The Miracle Morning is a solution path, you know, with whatever you're doing, whether it's physical fitness, mental fitness, and just the success path, I think. So, all right, goal setting, to close it up, what are, you know, if you had 3 things that were must things, and you know, really, I know you're sometimes you like to focus on what you're going to say. So I really want you to dive deep and make sure that these are the 3 critical things when it comes to goal setting.
So I can think of 2 off the top of my head, and maybe I'll come up with a 3rd one before when I get past number 2. So number 1 is anytime I hit a goal, after I achieved it, I kind of felt anticlimactic. I said, I could have gone farther. I should have set a bigger goal. So don't be scared to set too big of a goal, because most likely you're going to hit it and you wish you would have gone even further. So my number 1 tip would be set them big, set them audacious,
stretch it,
go all out for it. Number 2 is my second mistake that I made when I was running my business for a while, was I wasn't trusting myself to go forward fast enough or in the right manner, right? So I kept taking my foot off the gas and saying, there must be a cleaner, more perfect way to achieve these goals, because I always felt like I was just white knuckling it and bullying and grinding my way through the goal. And come to find out at the end, I was doing it the way I was supposed to do, and I should have just put my foot to the floor and kept going and stopped saying, oh, maybe if I had a MBA from MIT, I could do this better. You know what? Those guys and gals, they're doing the exact same thing, but they're just making it look perfect, which, you know, I want to hop onto this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everybody thinks when you're hitting a goal or when you're doing anything, right, it's here you are and you start there. and then you're going to go in this great little progression right here, and then you're going to hit the great goal like that. Everyone thinks that's what I was kind of talking about, right? With it being just, this is the perfect path.
Yep.
Well, every day is not perfect. They're not even close to it. So usually what you end up doing is you're doing all this stuff, but eventually you get higher and higher and higher, and you get there. So don't think when you're here that's the wrong thing. You're still moving forward than where you were here a week ago, a month ago, whatever. So everyone thinks it's got to be perfect and clean and sexy. You just got to drive forward, and you keep wandering around until you get there.
Yeah, I love it.
There's no perfect solution.
I always call it relentless progress is the big thing. Yeah. And I actually kind of draw out the same thing, but I kind of do it like a ladder. So if you're going up,
right. So this is kind of like I was trying to illustrate the messiness of a goal.
Yeah.
You know, they say if you go to your favorite restaurant, look to the kitchen, you probably never eat there again. Same thing when you're looking at people that are showing you how they achieve the goals. They make it look nice and sexy to get you to buy in, but really it's bullying and jamming and getting there. Nobody wants to get up at 4:30 in the morning, but I make myself do it, and I just love it because when I don't, I feel like I'm cheating myself. Now the ladder that you're talking about, I hate to get all fired up on.
I love it. No, I love the energy because honestly, I think I feed off your energy. And when it comes to goal setting, you have to be able to have that energy to achieve it.
Absolutely, you got to get excited about whatever it is, and it could be just getting up to go to Dan Marlowe's spin class at 5 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which I highly recommend. But even when I'm coaching, I used to coach ski racing for 20 years. So I'm coaching my daughter and her athletic stuff. Is originally you start and you learn quickly, right?
Yeah.
All your gains are almost easy, right?
Mm.
And then you hit this first little plateau,
right?
And then you got to stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. But the problem with the humans is they're not getting any progress. And then they get bored and they stop and they go do something else.
Yeah.
But I've noticed when I hang in there, and sometimes I feel like I'm in the dark and I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to go forward. Am I going the right way? What's going on? And you try. All of a sudden you hit your next level and you go up.
That next leg.
Yeah, and that's where I mean, where like when I took my foot off the gas, when you're going on one of these ups, man, put your foot to the floor, lean into it, and go as fast and as far as you can, because you don't know when this next plateau, where it's going to come or how long it's going to last. Mm. But it's kind of the same. So even though my other line was all scribbly and squishy, just to exhibit how it's not perfect and clean, everyone thinks it's got to be nice, neat, and clean.
Yeah.
And you know, if it's a weight loss goal, you're going to fall off.
Yeah.
You don't have to have perfection. You just have to have progress moving forward. So I find the ladder and the squiggle on the other screen are really good illustrations of what's really going on, you know, in the back of the brain or the back of your locker room or the back of wherever you are trying to accomplish things.
Now, I'm going to actually jump on this because you've done such a great job of setting me up here. And, you know, I've shared this with a couple people that I coach and stuff. But so if it comes to goal setting and you've gone through here and you've got to this path, one of the pieces that a lot of people find that they're missing is, you know, breaking into coaches and mentorship, right? Like Dan Marlowe or Nate, and they help you get past this. So even for me on my journey, you know, crush a couple goals, you know, checked it off here. Here's the next one. You know, this is my best-selling book. You know, so it's like for me to get to the next one, sometimes you find that there's a gap, right? Like it's, okay, here's the goal, but how do I get to the next tier? Because you've done all of these things before, right? This is what worked now. I went through the doldrums. This is what worked to get me here. And now I'm stuck, right? So how do I get from here to here? And this is the part where I look at like coaches. This is where coaches come in. Because coaches will actually be able to take a ladder and like give you the ladder back to where you are. So if you're stuck, I think it's important to realize that really if you reach out to someone that has already achieved it, someone that's ahead of you, a success coach, a mentor, or books, they will help you bridge this gap from wherever you are to where you want to be. And I love that when it comes to goal setting, like that's something that's really critical. Man, I love it. I love the energy. I love the goal setting. So, all right, let's wrap this up. Again, we kind of talked about a few different things here. You know, appreciation is also another big thing when it comes to, you know, goal settings. Like celebration also, you know, when you do hit that goal, make sure you celebrate, right? Because, you know, like you said, anticlimactic. Sometimes it can be because, you know, and you talk about it when it comes to event setting. Sometimes it's leading up to the event that is where the most energy is. And once you hit it, you know, and you didn't actually get that whatever it was that you were looking for, it's because you probably didn't set the bar high enough. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, I guess, to kind of wrap it up here, setting goals, when you achieve goals, you know, and when should you readjust your target? You know, should you wait until you actually hit it, or should you adjust the target along the way? Because I think success comes like that too, right? You know, success, whether it's, you know, hey, I want to deliver 100 papers or 100 speeches this year or whatever it may be. When you hit 100, if you just stop there, that's kind of where we feel like we're stuck again. And I think that if you adjust the target before you actually hit the target, will help you kind of carry the energy through on that.
Yeah, if you got momentum, why stop?
Yeah.
Right? Because you never know when that next flat spot's going to come and how long or how short it's going to be. So on those types of things, absolutely keep pushing that bar further out. When you're rolling, go with it.
And now the other thing is we have an amazing networking group, right? So we have a group of peers that helps us achieve our goals. Do you ever feel like when you hit 80%, like, I don't know if you have a number, but for me, it's like 85% of my goal. I always say, you know what? I think I made it. That's good enough. Who cares if I make the goal? Like, do you ever have like people in your network or people that surround you that go, no, Jay, you said you were going to do this. We're going to hold you accountable, and they kind of pull you over that lever. Do you ever feel like that?
For sure.
Yeah.
But when you go out to public and you say you're going to lose 50 pounds like I did, I mean, there was no going back on that, because then you had to eat your words, and there was no way I was going to eat that. But having a supportful network, and it's not just our groups that we network in, you need that support at home too.
Yeah, Napoleon Hill talks about that too, when it comes to finding a support network of, some in a relationship, right? Whether it's a friend or, a husband or wife or whatever it is, that support network at home will really will really drive you through those moments where you feel at your lowest. You need that pickup. And I mean, like I said, when it comes to goal setting, it's not easy. I think that whatever it is that you actually truly desire, when you set that out there to the world and you're going after it, you got to review it. You got to also understand that there will be challenges along the way, but don't quit just because you're 80% of the way there. Because like Jay said, as soon as you get to that peak, that's when everything pays off. So if you've already been through all the pain, you've already lost, say, 40 pounds, why would you stop 10 pounds shy when all you have to do, just kick it in, and you might as well be able to, might as well get that feeling of celebration, when you actually hit that achievement.
Yeah. And whether it's weight loss or athletics, like with weight loss, it's easier to be in weight loss mode than it is maintain mode. But when you're talking about the 80%, I was flashing back to when I used to do marathons. And a common mistake in the marathoning world is people go and they practice up to 20 miles, even though the marathon is 26.2, thinking, I can run a 5K. And so they say marathons are divided in two halves. The first 20 miles and the last 6 to change. And so many times when I'd run marathons, you would run into and see people that were at mile 20, 21, 22, and they hit the wall, right? Yeah. But they had only prepared the 80%. So when it came time on race day, you're only going to race the 80%.
Interesting.
And the other thing about the marathon is really when you do it right, you prepare for it right, the marathon itself is almost a little anticlimactic because you've already run 26 miles in practice.
You've done it, yeah.
Right?
So and now you're just doing it for the paper.
And that's when you say, well, maybe I should be thinking about an ultra marathon if you can practice the 26.
Well, I'm not going to be running an ultra marathon anytime soon, but when it comes to goal setting, I'll set some minor goals. But well, Jay, thank you so much for being a part of this. Again, your energy is always amazing to be around. Thank you for writing the foreword to my book, of course. I really appreciate that. And if there's any one last tip that you want to share with these guys and girls that are out there watching this video right now, what would it be when it comes to goal setting?
Set a goal, set any goal, take that first step, get serious about it, write it down. And even if you need help before, during, or in the middle of it, get a coach. Call us. We'll help you hit a goal. Put a little one, get a W on the board, reward yourself with putting a win on the board, and take some action. Nothing happens if you don't put, a pen to a paper or one foot in front of the other. Just do something, put a W on the board, and you'll find out how easy it really is, how great it feels to hit that success. Yeah. Now you're in the 20% club, or maybe the 2% club of actually finishing something, and you'll hit many more goals.
Absolutely. Awesome, Jay. Well, again, thank you so much for checking out this 8 Steps to Master Your Day goal setting. If there's anything that Jay recommends, it's definitely setting a goal and reviewing that goal daily. We're going to get you over those steps. And again, stay tuned. Check out MitchDurfee.com for more information. And thank you so much for following us. Sweet.
Beautiful. Get high, let it fly.